What's up? Did you know that this guy is 40 years old? That's right, it's been 40 years since the legendary, infamous, amazing Jaws was made. So I've come all the way down to the Florida Keys to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Jaws, and also to film this episode of MovieFacts. Yeah, it was expensive, it was too far, it was a dumb idea, but I'm also in the Florida Keys, so what can I say? It's a business expense. So join with me today to celebrate Steven Spielberg, that's the director of Jaws. I don't know if you knew that. Well, if you lived in 1974, you probably wouldn't have known that because barely anybody knew who he was. I mean, some people did, but it was really Jaws that made Steven Spielberg a household name. Crazy amount of facts that I'm giving you here. Okay, let's get into it. Here are 5 facts you might not know about Jaws. Did you know that Steven Spielberg, during production of this movie, thought he would never be allowed to make a movie again? And this film almost didn't get made several times. Let me tell you all about it. Number 1, Steven Spielberg really wanted the film to be rooted in reality, so he insisted on filming the movie on the Atlantic Ocean. Despite Universal Studios advising against this idea, the young, eager, and somewhat naive director insisted on making this a reality. So much so that he said that if he wasn't allowed to make the film on the Atlantic Ocean, he would quit the project. This convinced Universal, they agreed, thus securing in the 159 worst days of Steven Spielberg's life. Which brings us to number 2. Universal agreeing to give in to Steven Spielberg's demands had less to do with his directing prowess and more to do with dumb luck for the young 27-year-old, as Universal was on a strict time crunch to get the film done before an impending SAG strike began. On top of that, they had already fired a director who apparently didn't know the difference between a whale and a shark. Man, the 70s, those were a very different time for making films. All you needed on your resume was, I'm Steven, and at least I know what sharks are. Number 3, filming began on the movie on May 2nd, 1974. This was before they had filled out their cast, finished their script, and built their shark for a movie that was about a shark. As filming continued, scenes that included the shark had to be changed and rewritten because the shark wasn't finished yet. They continuously had mechanical problems thanks to filming a movie on the ocean in the 70s. With this, on top of extreme production delays, thanks to all kinds of things, Steven Spielberg's pressure to get this thing done began to rise, and he decided once again he was gonna quit the project. He set up a meeting with Richard Zanuck, the producer on the film, who suspected Steven Spielberg was about to quit, so he looked around and grabbed the promotional shirt for Jaws, put it on. When Steven Spielberg got there and saw his producer wearing the shirt for his film, he realized he had to finish the movie. This is why if you ever see George Lucas and Steven Spielberg together, George Lucas is wearing an Indiana Jones shirt. Number 4, Jaws was originally a book. Yes, Spielberg loves to make movies based on books, but it was a book without a name, all the way up to the point where it was about to be published. Several names were passed around for the book, most of them including the word Jaws. Finally, the author, Peter Binkley, decided, hey, guys, let's just call it Jaws. His publisher said, well, what does that mean? Peter responded and said, I don't know, but it's short. This turned out to be a perfect representation of the mystery and minimalism that accidentally happened surrounding this film, which brings me to number 5. Because so many scenes were reworked because of the mechanical difficulties of the shark, the film's greatest strength is the mysterious quality. Spoiler alert, you don't see the shark until the very end. Closer to the end of production, Steven Spielberg understood that this element of mystery was one of the few things that they had going for them when it came to the potential success of this film. Because of that, he was very careful to create a closed set and not let the mystery of the shark out. But in the tradition of the production of this film going poorly, Time magazine ended up leaking pictures of the shark, and furthermore, the side of the shark that didn't look like a shark. This was extremely disappointing for Steven Spielberg because he didn't want people going into the theater thinking, well, it's just a fake shark. To try to salvage the least little bit of surprise, the studios decided to release the film in hundreds of theaters across the country all at the same time. Of course, that's what they always do, right? Well, it turns out that before this film, no, that's not how they did it. But as you would imagine, because this film released and became immediately the success that we know it today, Hollywood studios began making this a regular practice, which just goes to show you that before the 1970s, everyone in the entertainment business was stupid.
Positively shocking.
Guys, thanks so much for watching this episode of MovieFacts. Thank you so much for joining me as I spend this time in the Florida Keys. I'm on the water. It's pretty amazing. I do a lot for you, and if you want to do something for me, you can hit that subscribe button. Then you can keep up with all the latest facts about movies. I do one about every week. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Kevin, and those are the facts.